Good evening and welcome to the Select Board meeting of January 5th, 2026. Happy New Year to everyone. Okay, I somehow didn't write that down. Okay, so going on to board business. Next item is a continuation of last week's discussion on SB593, which is a Senate bill that we said last week we were going to check and see because there was some sort of committee meeting about this bill on the 7th, which is this week, Wednesday, and we weren't sure if that was going to give the public an opportunity to speak to the Senate committee, and it turns out it's not a hearing that's on the 7th. So there probably will not be an opportunity for anyone to speak other than the senators that are there, but you are certainly welcome to attend and observe. So if anything changes with that, further down the line where there's opportunities for people to speak in person to a committee or to a hearing, we'll let you know, because this is an important bill. And we also talked last week about whether we should write another letter to Senator Rochford and the senators that were sponsoring this bill, Senator Pearl, Senator Waters, and Chairwoman Aaron. And we do have a draft of a letter that we would like to send out tomorrow, assuming, or not assuming, but if it's approved tonight to do so, and obviously public input is welcome. And this is the letter. The Bethlehem Selectboard respectfully submits this letter in formal opposition to HB707, it's another bill, and SB593. These bills represent a significant and concerning erosion of municipal land use authority. Local control over zoning, planning, and land use decisions has long been a cornerstone of New Hampshire governance, ensuring that decisions affecting public health, safety, property values, and community character are made by boards accountable to the residents most directly impacted. SB 593 also risks Bethlehem's existing legal contracts with Casella that were negotiated and implemented in good faith and represent the will of the citizens of the town. Bethlehem is not opposed to responsible waste management, nor are we opposed to economic activity conducted in compliance with existing law. However, these bills would fundamentally alter the balance between state oversight and municipal authority by limiting the role of local land use boards in reviewing, conditioning, or denying landfill expansion proposals within their own communities. Once local control is removed, it cannot be easily restored, and the long-term consequences for municipalities across New Hampshire are substantial. We also wish to acknowledge that you may receive letters of support for these bills. We respectfully encourage legislators to closely examine the sources and motivations of those letters. Many supporting comments may originate from parties who stand to benefit financially from landfill expansion, or from entities whose interests do not align with the long-term well-being of host communities. While such perspectives are entitled to be heard, they should not outweigh the voices of municipalities tasked with protecting residents, infrastructure, and natural resources. Importantly, the Bethlehem Select Board represents all residents of Bethlehem, including those who may benefit economically from landfill-related activity. We have worked diligently to avoid rekindling past animosity between neighbors and to maintain community cohesion on a deeply complex and emotional issue. Our opposition to HB707 and SB593 is not rooted in opposition to any individual or business, but in our firm belief that removing municipal authority will ultimately harm communities, exasperate conflict, and undermine public trust in land use decision-making. Local officials are best positioned to weigh competing interests, impose appropriate conditions, and respond to site-specific impacts. State-level preemption of these responsibilities sets a troubling precedent that extends well beyond landfill regulation. For these reasons, the Bethlehem Selectboard respectfully urges you to oppose HB707 and SB593 and to preserve the principle of local control that has long served New Hampshire communities well. Thank you for your consideration and for your service to the state of New Hampshire. Please do not hesitate to contact us should you wish to discuss Bethlehem's position in greater detail. That's the letter that we would like to send. Any comments from the board?
It's done pretty good.
Any comments from the public? Mr. Jensen.
Chris Jensen, the Rutland Road. I think that's a terrific letter.
Okay. Mr. DiMaggio.
Steve DiMaggio. I think it's a terrific letter too. But what's the plan if this bill passes?
So it won't, I don't think the next step is pass the bill. I think
This is all committee still.
it goes to committee, and then I think we as individuals can have an opportunity to speak directly to the legislators rather than just send a letter.
But
Which,
But
Yeah.
should this bill pass all the way through, does Bethlehem have a plan about doing something about this? I mean, is there any obstruction that we can put forward, any legal, being
I
it's
think
targeted
it's
at
going
Bethlehem,
to,
right?
it's going to become a legal issue because of our settlement agreement. And if our settlement agreement is overridden by the state, I think Bethlehem has to decide whether we're going to fight that.
Yeah, okay.
And no plan has been made yet to answer your question.
Okay.
But there's worry.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
Just saying, we should be looking forward to that.
Look, maybe, yes.
I think one of the things
we
that might
have
be,
some things.
I think it might be premature to make those kind of plans in terms of, we have attorneys that represent the town that will be fully prepared to represent the town if need be. That is, in any situation, I think the town is prepared to the ability it can. I think it's really in our best interest to avoid that, because nobody wants to pay another $1 million legal fee.
Right.
And so,
I'm not saying we should start something now, I'm just saying we should be prepared to move forward.
yeah, and I think to the best of our ability, we certainly have good attorneys that are prepared to fight if necessary.
Great. Thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Southwell?
Rich Southwell, 238 Whitefield Road. I think you nailed the letter, and I guess we just see how things play out and where we go from here, because it's very complicated. You've got a new bill in the Senate, you've got an amended bill in the Senate that has to go back to the House,
Yeah.
and then it's not clear. I asked, not Jared Sullivan, I was talking to someone else about whether it needs to go back through committee because it's been amended in the way that it has, and it's a process question that needs to be researched, and when I hear something, I'll let you know, but, this has been going on for a while.
Yeah.
Again, so this is my first rodeo on this, I know you guys have been through this a few times. So that's,
I will also say while you're up there that Rich Southwell did write a letter to the legislators that I saw a copy of that was very well done. And I do hope if we get to the point where we have an opportunity to speak in person, that more than
I will
a
clear
few of
my
us.
calendar.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're a good speaker, so, I'm hoping. And I would also encourage anyone who's listening that if you feel that this is an important issue, you are welcome to write letters or reach out. You can do it through email. That's what we're going to do with this letter tomorrow because the 7th is Wednesday. We want them to get it before Wednesday. So And we will be tracking this. So there's actual like software out there that helps us track some certain bills as they wind their way through the legislation, so we can see what's going on with it.
I want to reiterate, your letter was well written, and I wanted to share that I think I would encourage everyone that is strong in maintaining local control is to look at all those senators and write to them and fill their inbox. And when last year when we had this, I didn't do any select board one. I did it as a resident, and I addressed it. And I actually got a response from Mr. Pearl. Probably wasn't very nice, but I didn't write a very nice one either. So, but my point being is they need to hear. He said if they don't hear from us, they'll say, well, it's obviously not a problem because no one's speaking out.
Right.
And then if you go to that thing and people are in there registering opposition, and it starts adding up, I think. If the opposition numbers show high, they'll be hopefully less apt to move forward with it, saying that it's not a favorable bill to the public.
Yeah, I will say that I have written personally also, and Senator Rochford also already responded back to me and said that he is fighting for Bethlehem and will write an amendment to counter this, so.
Excellent.
Yeah, so I saw Senator Rochford wrote